Hello and welcome to Penguin TV. It is recorded by George Ephelis, aka Whiffy Penguin, and you can follow me on Twitter at Whiffy Penguin. Penguin TV is hosted by PureMTGO.com and sponsored by MTGOTraders.com. Get an 8% discount off all orders over $50 when paying with PayPal or credit card. And you can check out CapeFearGames.com and get an extra 20% off when trading paper for digital. Enjoy the videos. Hey everybody, welcome to another Penguin TV. This week we're going to be talking about Shoath. That would be Show and Tell Oath of Druids. That's where we get Shoath from. So, this deck is a little similar to the Good Game Oath variant. We're running Dragon's Breaths, we're running Emrakul's, but a big difference is that we have 3 Show and Tells, and then we also have a Channel. And Channel does some amazing things with Emrakul. For one, I mean, you can get the nut hand of turn 1 land, Lotus Petal, Channel, Emrakul. You pay 15 life, and you get to take an extra turn and attack them for 15. Obviously, you're not going to be destroying any permanents, but there's really only like one card that can interact with that opening, and that is Karakas. So what do we have here? We've got the normal trappings of Oath of Druids. We've got 4 Emrakuls because we want to be able to maximize the chance of having one in our hand for either Show and Tell or Channel. We've got our Forbidden Orchards over here in our land base, and I guess we'll start over here. We've got 4 orchards, 2 underground seas, a bayou, and the bayou is important because it produces green for Channel, as well as black. We've got 3 tropicals, and then Volcanic Island, which is primarily for our sideboard options. And then we also have 5 fetch lands. We've got 4 Lotus Petals and a Mana Crypt. You'll notice that there's no Sol Ring, and Sol Ring is in a lot of the other decks. Sol Ring does help with a turn 2 Show and Tell, but then again, so does Lotus Petal or Mana Crypt. And we're running Mana Crypt instead of Sol Ring because we want to maximize our nut draws. And land or Lotus Petal Mana Crypt will give you 3 mana for Show and Tell, whereas land and Sol Ring or Lotus Petal and Sol Ring will not give you the 3 mana for Show and Tell. So we've got 16 lands, and we've got the 5 artifact accelerants. We have Brainstorms to dig around a little bit. And then we've got 2 little bullets right here. We've got a Hurkyl's Recall, which I feel like the metagame is moving past needing a main deck Hurkyl's Recall. It does deal with Blightsteel Colossus, but there are less and less shop decks entering these events. And then we've got a Beast Within, which has fantastic synergy with Oath of Druids. It blows up a lot of problem permanents, but the thing that it does best is it's technically a 5th Forbidden Orchard, and you can tutor for it with Mystical Tutors. So you technically have 5 Beast Withins, and then you've got your 4 orchards plus your tutors that get orchard. Speaking of tutors, we are running a maximum 4 Mystical Tutors. And what is the maximum 4 Mystical Tutors do? It allows us to get our 2 bullets in the main deck. It allows us to get our bullets in the sideboard. Mystical Tutor will allow us to do a tutor chain of Mystical into Vampiric for Oath. But most importantly, Mystical Tutor allows you to go turn 1 Mystical Tutor for Channel or Show and Tell, and then get that Emrakul into play. We've got a pretty good disruption package here. 3 Duress, 4 Mental Misstep, and 4 Force of Will. Force of Will is ubiquitous with the format. This is a blue deck, even though there aren't very many blue cards in it. Well, I suppose there are a lot of blue cards. We've got 8, 9, 13, 17. We've got 20 blue cards, and then a 21st in the sideboard. So Mystical Tutor allows us to get our Show and Tells and Channels. And this pile right here will protect us. And then we've got Dragon's Breath. And one of the reasons that we have Dragon's Breath is because If we're not doing it, we can't really beat a Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yes, we can Oath of Druids multiple times, but we're not really going to be doing anything against Jace. Especially since they'll just get a million free turns off of bouncing Emrakul back to our hand. We've got our Oath of Druids, which is the star of our deck in combination with Forbidden Orchard. We've got the Show and Tells, which, as I explained, help you put an Emrakul into play. And the Channel, which lets you get this. These two cards together make Time Walk. If you want to play Time Walk in Classic, unfortunately you have to do it with Channel and Emrakul. Speaking of the tutors, we kind of glossed over the black tutors. We've got Demonic, we've got Imperial, we've got Vampiric, and we've got something kind of saucy. Something that you don't normally see in blue control decks. Demonic Consultation. It's been a long time since I've played this card. We used to run it in Classic with Necropotence when it was unrestricted, and for a very, very short time we ran it in Psychotog decks, which beat up on Necropotence decks, interestingly enough. But if we look at our cards, we have 4 Oath of Druids, 4 Emrakuls, 4 Forbidden Orchards, and then 4 Mental Misstep and 4 Force of Will, which Demonic Consultation will also find. Now, you're not going to be consultating for Channel or Beast Within or Hurkyl's Recall. That is just way too risky and a good way to lose yourself the game. But with 4 copies of Oath, 4 copies of Emrakul, and 3 copies of Show and Tell pre-board, Demonic Consultating for any of these cards is not very dangerous, not counting this channel. That channel should not be consultated for unless you need that Hail Mary. So that is the basis of the deck right there. We are just trying to get Emrakul. We are just getting the biggest, baddest guy we can. And it allows us to play Channel kind of successfully in a Classic deck, as well as Demonic Consultation. If we look down here at the sideboard, we've got a Show and Tell. And this would be brought in for Fish decks and the Mirror match, because people are going to gun for your Oath of Druids. And it's nice to have Show and Tell on top of your Oath of Druids. You basically have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Oath of Druids, and then you have 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Show and Tells. So you've basically got 19 ways to get Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn, into play quickly. And then the Show and Tell would give you an even 20 out of the board. We've got 4 Leyline of the Void. I know that we usually talk about having 6 slots for Dredge, but this is a very fast Oath deck. This might be the fastest Oath build, because you've got the Dragon's Breath, and then on top of the Oath of Druids, you also have the Show and Tells in the Channel to get your Emrakul. We've got Ancient Grudges to augment our shot matchup, as well as Nature's Claims, which also come in against the Mirror. These 2 basic lands would come in against the Workshop matchup, as well as Fish, because Fish is running around with a million Wastelands now as well. Speaking of Fish, we've got 2 Fire Spouts, which we can search up with our Mysticals, and this will help us get rid of Qasali Pride Mage, or, oh geez, pretty much everything except for Tarmogoyf. And rounding it out, we've got Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast. So this week, I've got 6 matches to show you. It's over the course of 2 daily events, I think over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. They are not exactly the same list. The first version of the deck that I played in the first 3 rounds did not have Demonic Consultation. It had a Regrowth instead. And instead of these Fire Spouts, it had Pithing Needle, which was a little bit of an out to Bazaar of Baghdad, as well as one of the scariest cards this deck can possibly see is Karakas. And I think that going forward, we might need to throw a Blightsteel Colossus in here, or we might need to get some way to take care of Karakas. We don't have a Wasteland, we don't have Strip Mine, we don't have Pithing Needle for Karakas. Karakas pretty much ruins our day. But yeah, so for the first round we've got, or for the first 3 rounds, we've got the original version. And then for the second 3 rounds, we also have this version. And this week is not the only chance you'll get to see Shoath. If you are a fan of the show, you have seen at least one video of Shoath in the past, and a little bit later on in the week, over Yawgmoth Soap Opera, Zach, aka Abstract66, has thrown his League matches with this exact build into the podcast article. So you can see his 2 rounds as well, versus, I believe, Dredge and possibly Storm. I'm not sure what the second match was. But yeah, this is the deck, and I hope you guys enjoy the matches. I'll see you for round 1.